Good day, everyone. For today's video, we're going to discuss the philosophical basis, which are the inclusivity and equality. This is under the UD2 basis and policies of special and inclusive education. We were going to define what is inclusivity and equality and differentiate equality and inclusion and its goal of inclusive in education. And we were going to analyze strategies for providing effective inclusive education and organize the idea of equality and education. According to Senator Harrison Williams on 1974, we need to provide education for children with exceptionalities, which to meet our unique needs. Each individual has the right to education and to equal opportunity within one place or nation. According to him, the failure to provide an education which meets the needs of a single handicapped child or the refusal to recognize the handicapped child's right to grow is a travesty of justice and denial of equal protection under the law. It is the standards that applies to everyone in a certain education system. So inclusive education means that all students attend and are welcomed by their neighborhood schools in age-appropriate regular classes and are supported to learn, to contribute and participate in all aspects of the life of the school. The philosophy of accepting all children, it involves a trusting curriculum, assessment practices, teaching styles, and the physical environment. Inclusion in education is an approach to educating students with special educational needs. So inclusion rejects the use of special schools or classrooms to separate students with disabilities from students without disabilities. It aims at integrating the development of children with special needs and normal one. So it is reconstructing the cultures, the policies and practices in schools. It promotes equality in education. In addition, it is based on the many universal declaration, based on the four 21st century pillar of education. Learning to know, learning to do, learning to be, and learning to live together. This is according to UNESCO on 2009. Inclusivity is the practice of providing equal access to opportunities and resources. The fact of including all the types of people, things or ideas, and treating them all fairly and equally. Inclusive education is the means of different and diverse students learning side by side in the same classroom. They enjoy field trips and after-school activities together. They participate in student government together, and inclusive education values diversity and the unique contribution of each student that brings to the classroom. Inclusive systems provide a better quality education for all children and are instrumental in changing discriminatory attitudes. Schools provide the context for a child's first relationship with the world outside their families, enabling the development of social relationships and interactions. With the respect and understanding grow when students of diverse abilities and backgrounds that play, socialize, and learn together. So education that excludes and segregates perpetuates discrimination against traditionally marginalized groups. When education is more inclusive, so are concepts of civic participation, employment, and community life. A never-ending process. It is concerned with the identification and removal of barriers, the presence, the participation, and achievement of all the students. It focuses on groups to learners may be excluded, marginalized, or at risk of underachievement. It is a philosophy, not a program. It cannot happen in one classroom and not the other. It requires the shared value system, resources, and collaboration. So these are the goal of inclusive education. First, to enable individuals to participate effectively in society. We have to combat discriminatory attitudes and build inclusive society. To provide effective education to the majority of children. We have also to provide academically effective, inclusive, gender responsive, and etc. We have to overcome future learning deficiencies among youth and adults. We have the three basic elements of inclusive education. First is the use of teaching assistants or specialists. These steps have the potential to be inclusive or divisive. For instance, a specialist who helps teachers address the needs of all students is working inclusively and especially who pulls students out of class to work with them individually on a regular basis is not. We have also the second, the inclusive curriculum. So an inclusive curriculum includes locally relevant themes and contributions by marginalized and minority groups. It avoids binary narratives of good and bad and allows adapting the curriculum to the learning styles of children with special education needs. We have the last, the parental involvement. Most schools strive for some level of parental involvement, but it is often limited to emails home and occasional parent teaching conferences. In a diverse school system, inclusion means thinking about multiple ways to reach out to parents on their own terms. Now we are going to discuss the major philosophies of inclusive education. First, the teacher-centered philosophy. So, teacher centered philosophies are essential for the longevity of education and the continued influence of teachers in the classroom. In this article of two teacher centered philosophy, we'll review which are essentialism and perennialism. So, teacher centered philosophy are those that transfer knowledge from one generation of teachers to the next. In teacher centered philosophies, the teacher's role is to impart our respect for authority. We have the determination, a strong work of ethic, compassion for others, and sensibility. The second major philosophy is student centered philosophy. So, student centered philosophy are another essential philosophy that educators should be aware. By focusing on the needs of students, teachers are able to assist and teach students within the classroom, ensuring a higher level of student success. There are three types of student-centered philosophies that we'll discuss, which are progressivism, social reconstructionism, and existentialism. So, student-centered philosophies focus more on training individuals, students. This philosophy places more emphasis on the individuality of students and helping them to realize their potential. The last major philosophy is social-centered philosophy. The future of education is transpiring every day. Therefore, some philosophies may remain while others fade away. In this, society-centered philosophies are discussed to understand the impact of society on education today and in the future. There are two types of society-centered philosophy that will be observed, which are critical theory and globalization. We know that social-centered go beyond focusing on the student and focus instead on a group or a population. So this philosophy focus on educating a group of people, whether a minority group or the world as a whole, rather than a curriculum or a student. The objective is to improve society as a whole. So these are the five aspects of equality education. The human right essential for socialism, the success for democracy, economic and social development and advancement of nation. So inclusive education is the foundation of equity and collaboration. So let us make innovative aspects to provide equal opportunities to all. So let's impart our individual uniqueness to help or to enlist the needs of each other.